Anti-nutritional factors. What are anti-nutritional factors? Anti-nutritional factors are those that can combine or destroy the nutrients that are present in the food. There are certain anti-nutritional factors present in the legumes. They are also referred to as the toxic substances. Some toxic substances are naturally present in some pulses. So the toxic substances in the pulses, they are not contamination, they are not additives, they are not added to the pulses, but they are present naturally. When it is grown as crop itself, there will be some toxic substances present in the pulses. And they include the trypsin inhibitors and the heme agglutinins. They are the common toxic substances that are present naturally in the pulses. So let us see the anti-nutritional factors. I told you anti-nutritional factors are those that will destroy or bind the nutrients that are present in the food. Trypsin inhibitor. So the name itself indicates that it will interfere with the digestion of protein by inhibiting the action of the enzyme trypsin. So what is trypsin? Trypsin is an enzyme. Trypsin is an enzyme that is responsible for digesting the protein in the stomach. So only in the presence of trypsin, digestion of protein will take place in the stomach. And now what is happening? Trypsin inhibitor. What is inhibition? Inhibition means it is preventing the action, or it has an antagonistic action or an opposite action. So trypsin inhibitor means it will prevent the action of trypsin. Where is the trypsin inhibitor present? The trypsin inhibitor is present in the pulses. The trypsin inhibitor will prevent the action of the enzyme trypsin, and therefore the protein present will not be digested. The protein, because of the inability to digest, will be lost, or you will not get the amino acids that will be derived as a result of digestion of the protein. So it will prevent the digestion of protein, and therefore there will be loss of protein to the human body. And heme agglutinins. Heme agglutinins. So the name itself indicates that it will combine with heme. And where is heme present? Heme is present in the hemoglobin. And what is hemoglobin? Hemoglobin is the coloring pigment present in the RBC of the blood. In the blood, we have the RBCs, the red blood cells. The red blood cells appear red in color because of the presence of a pigment called as hemoglobin. And this hemoglobin contains a component called as heme. It is split into two parts, the heme and the globin. So the heme portion, heme agglutinin will combine with the heme portion and it will destroy the hemoglobin. Fortunately, both these toxic components, that is the trypsin inhibitor as well as the heme agglutinin, will be destroyed by heat that is used in the normal cooking process. So when the pulses are roasted or boiled or when they are steamed, these anti-nutritional factors will be destroyed. In the natural cooking process, the anti-nutritional factors will be destroyed. The human beings are not going to consume the pulses raw. We cannot consume the pulses raw. It has to be cooked because it is very hard in nature. So when subjected to heat, the anti-nutritional factors will be destroyed. Favism. Broad beans contain some toxic substances. Broad beans is what we call as avarai. When these beans are consumed raw, a disease called as favism will occur. This disease is characterized by hemolytic anemia. Hemolysis. Lysis means breakdown. Hemolytic means breakdown of the hemoglobin. And this breakdown of hemoglobin leads to anemia. And this disease is called as favism. Since human beings usually do not consume broad beans raw, they are not likely to suffer from favism. and all the different types of beans that we consume are thoroughly cooked and then only we consume it. And therefore human beings do not consume the raw broad beans, and therefore they are not affected by this disease called as favism. And what is favism? Favism is nothing but the hemolytic anemia that is caused due to the consumption of raw broad beans. Letharism, this again is a disease. Kesari dal contains certain toxic substances. This dal is grown largely in northern part of India, particularly Madhya Pradesh. It was observed that during the drought conditions, that is when there is no rainfall, Varachi, that is called as the drought, only this dal is grown and it is used as a staple food, because for the cultivation purpose we require water, and when there is no adequate rainfall and when the underground water also is very less, and in that condition the kesari dal is capable of growing. People cultivate kesari dal and they consume it as a staple food. When this dal is consumed over a long period of time, it leads to paralysis of the lower limb, and it usually occurs in the males. What is paralysis? Paralysis means weakening of the muscles, particularly of the leg. Weakening of the muscles in the leg, and it leads to paralysis, and it affects mostly the male. This disease is called as letharism. It is reported that when the intake of kesari dal is restricted to 30% of the total caloric intake, no adverse effects are observed. So when it is consumed in small quantities, when it is capable of supplying only 30% of the total energy requirement. Say for example, an adult may need about 2500 kilocalories of energy, that is his per day energy requirement. Out of that 30% means it is a very small amount. So much of energy if it is supplied by the kesari dal, and if you are going to supply and if you are going to consume that quantity of kesari dal, then it is not a problem. It will not cause letharism. Therefore, it is important to ensure that the intake of the dal must be restricted to a maximum of 30% of the total caloric intake. So, small amount is not a problem, but when it is consumed more, then it causes a disease, a problem called as letharism. So here you can see the child that has been affected with letharism. There are different stages in the development of letharism. So first is the latent stage. Then next will be the no stick stage. Next one stick. Next second stick. And then the crawling stage. So one stick and two sticks, etc. It indicates that the person can walk only with the help of stick or crutches. So there will be flexing of the knee, and the muscles will become inactive, or the muscles are not working. There is no coordination in the muscle. And you can see that the knee of this child is flexed and they are not able to walk. So there are various stages in the occurrence of letharism. We shall now see the cooking process of the pulses. Legumes are cooked in several ways. The whole legumes are the entire legume, like green gram, Bengal gram, which means the whole legumes can be cooked and consumed, or they can be germinated and consumed. They can be cooked as such and consumed. Green gram, we cook them as whole green gram and consume. We incorporate them into different types of recipes. And we also use the germinated whole legumes and consume them. The dal, what is the dal? The dal is the decuticled split legume. They can also be cooked. Like we have the green gram dal, red gram dal, black gram dal. So they can be cooked in water and they are mashed. Usually we mash the dal. That is, we make it soft. We use different methods to mash the dal, and then it can be consumed. Also, the flour prepared by grinding the dal is also used along with cereal flour for making different food preparation. Apart from consuming the whole legumes, and the dal, we also convert the dal into flour. Flour is the powder that is obtained after grinding the dal. So this is also used in different types of preparations. Whole legumes. The whole legumes, they are hard, and when we are going to cook the whole legumes, say for example, we are going to cook the Bengal gram or the rajma or the soya bean, the whole legumes can be soaked in water overnight. So the earlier night, we can soak them in water. What is soaking in water? We take the gram and we add water to it so that the gram is immersed in water. Like we soak the black gram for preparing idli. Overnight we soak the black gram in water. So similarly, we can soak it in water and then the water can be drained off, and the soaked legumes are cooked in boiling water or steam for 20 to 30 minutes and they become soft. So the advantage here is if the grams and the legumes are soaked in water overnight, they will cook easily. If you are going to cook the peas or the beans without soaking in water, it will take a long time to cook. And during cooking, the legumes, the peas or the beans, they will absorb water and they will swell in size, they enlarge in size. And during cooking process, it will be easy for cooking. And you can also use the water in which the grams are soaked for the cooking purpose also. When we drain the water in which the grams or the legumes are cooked, the water soluble nutrients that are present may be wasted. So instead, you can also cook the grams or the peas or the beans in the water itself in which they are soaked, so that there will be no wastage of the water soluble vitamins. And to this, salt and condiments can be added. What are condiments? Like the chilies or onion or garlic, whatever. So the salt and condiments are added to taste. So like we prepare the sundal. In the preparation of sundal, we add mustard seeds, we add curry leaves and a chili, some onion we add, and we also add salt to the peas or the Bengal gram or the beans, right? And in this way, they can be consumed. Dal. The dal is cooked in 4 times its weight of water. That is, we take one portion of dal and 4 portions of water, and it can be cooked for 20 to 30 minutes to a soft consistency. When you use a pressure cooker, it can be cooked very easily. The open boiling method may take some time, up to 30 minutes, but when you cook it in a pressure cooker, it may take only about 7 to 8 minutes for cooking the dal, and it can be cooked to a very soft consistency. This dal can be mashed, salt and condiments are added, and it can be incorporated into any type of preparation, the preparation of sambar, or in the preparation of dal, or in the preparation of rasam. Sometimes we add a little bit of dal to rasam also. So it can be incorporated into any type of recipes. Legume flour. Legume flour is prepared by grinding the dal in a flour mill. Like we grind the rice in a rice mill or a wheat in a wheat mill. Similarly, the dal can also be ground. So we get different type of flour from the dal, like the green gram flour or the Bengal gram flour, which are used in different types of preparation. What are they? Pasipairu mavu and kadala mavu. So they are used in different types of recipes. The flour thus obtained is used along with cereal flour in many common Indian food preparations. So in the preparation of any type of sweet or karam, we use the Bengal gram flour. Kadala mavu is used in different preparations. We want to make laddu or mixture, and it is prepared from the Bengal gram flour.